Today on Your World.
When alienda shule, alipatana na wenzake walikuwa wanakunywa bia. So they were like, wanamkejeli. Wewe mbona unakunywa soda na sisi tunakunywa nini?
The level where my life had reached, I was waiting for death was inevitable.
Addiction is a very complex condition. It is a brain disease characterized by doing something for short-term relief.
So I will do some petty crimes and I will get away with.
A very good morning to you. It's good to see you on the newly relaunched Your World. My name is Winnie Lubembe, where right here on Your World, we talk about bigger and bolder conversations. And today's conversation is exactly that. Bolder, but a story of resilience, a story of hope, and a story of second chances. What am I talking about? We'll be focusing on beyond the bottle, a life beyond alcohol addiction, drug addiction, and finding hope. Right, well, let's talk about life beyond the bottle. And I know this is a conversation that touches almost every single person who's watching us today, and even us here on set. And we want to understand, first of all, when do you get to that level where you say, you know what, enough is enough, and I need to turn my life around? And my guest today, you would really, really understand his story, because from that aspect of social drinking led him to the point of addiction and eventually into crime. But now he is a born-again Christian and has managed to turn his life around. And I am talking about Otiembo Joseph, who is a recovering addict and a reformed criminal. Good to have you. You know, I'm saying those words very cautiously because I'm not sure even if it's the right thing to say. But again, this was your life. This is not your life right now. And tunasema asante sana really for accepting to come and share your story with us, to touch as many people out there who've lost hope, and especially when it comes to like their family members or even themselves. So asante sana. And you're also accompanied by your cousin, Esther Ayako Otuoma. Good to have you. Thank you so much. Looking at him, before we get into his story, just looking at him now, what is that one word that you would say?
I just thank God.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Because it's been a journey. But let's start with you, Joseph. So, social drinking, like so many people would say, you know me, you Fridays, to stress your kazi and all those things. But eventually, over time, that's you got yourself into addiction. And we're talking about alcohol at this point, right? So can we go back to then? What was your life like?
Just like any addict, nobody starts drinking with addiction goal in mind. I started just like any other addict. I started as a responsible user, responsible drunkard. I was drawn into it by peer pressure. I remember some time, I never used to drink. I was not born drinking, though my father is a drunkard. There's a time immediately after Form 4, we stayed for about 2 years before joining campus. I was teaching in a given school. We went out. My other staff members were drinking beer. I was busy with my soda.
Did they make fun of you?
Exactly. So when I was drinking soda, they started intimidating me. When they were calling their bottles, my soda was coming with the bread. Oh. So that intimidation, they say you are not a man, men drink. I decided to show that I'm a man. I decided to show that I'm a man. I took a bottle of Tusker. Tusker was my first bottle I took. And just like very many of us, I was not sure how I felt. I was not very sure how I felt with that first experience, because I was taking it cautiously. You are very cautious that you should not overdo, because drugs, we normally say, it's not a knowledge problem. We all know the effects. I had seen people that had already been affected by alcohol, so I was very careful that I should not fall. I should not be able to make it home. So as a social user, I used it the first time. I was not sure of what I felt, but I hated it. But still, because I had tried it, when I joined the campus, I would drink when you get help. Sometimes, pesa iko ukipata help. Sometimes when you attend a friend's birthday, I would control my drinking. Sometimes you'll call me to drink, I want to drink, but I said I will drink, but it was not a priority. It was not a priority. I would only drink when it is very necessary. So I went, and I after finished college, that life what we call responsible drinking, I was lucky to get a job in one of a very big national school. I taught at Lenana school. So when I got there, I also blame partly cash, availability of money.
Okay.
So when I had money, I now accelerated it a bit because I will manage that. And then I was also married. And then there's a combination of various factors. There is money. There is what you think is pressure from marriage.
Okay.
Because initially, when I was teaching at Lenana, I used to reside at Igashie. But a time reached when I saw the distance is very far. I took a house next to the school, So that one brought some conflict because sometimes you don't just even have the push to go home over the weekend. You can just stay around and drink with the friends. So that push here and there from the family, I thought, according to me, it was stress. Yeah. And according to me, because I had a way of managing stress, which I thought it was through drinking, I now increased.
Okay, it's like a tolerance level, like
Yeah.
K1, moja ishiki bado.
Moja ishiki bado.
You know, reverse to two kidogo,
Ivo.
bado you don't feel the way you want to feel.
Ivo.
Okay, all right.
Alafu pia friends, kakuwa na category of friends when you skate every weekend, they are bash. Sometimes mnaenda up to 3 in the night is when you are drinking up to very late in the night. You know, initially you are drinking, but you don't want your drinking to go up to your...
Yeah. So it's and it's interesting what you're saying. You are very cautious. You're very responsible, quote unquote. And one would wonder. So then, at what point did it get to that level of addiction? Like you were not able to do the things you would do because you do not have alcohol in your system, right? And I'm curious to understand when that was and you know what was that like for you. But let me just speak to your cousin a little bit to understand the kind of a person he was before everything else happened.
He was a good person. He was a very responsible man. And second thing, he was a church boy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm pretty sure you as a family were like this is really come to kanisa. What changed?
So I think by the time alienda shule,
Yeah.
hiyo peer pressure. The first time amesema venye alienda shule, alipatana na wenzake walikuwa wanakunywa bia, so they were like wanamkejeli, wewe mbona unakunywa soda na sisi tunakunywa nini? So I think that's what made him to change from there.
Okay. All right. So that level of I'm just curious to understand. So at what point did it get to that level where you have to have either several bottles or you had to have, you know, this much for you to either function or not? And what are some of the things that you were able to do or not?
Initially, I tried to be responsible, hide my drinking from my other staff members. But just as I had said, there are sometimes you drink, and then you try to hide the fumes, then you realize people have known. And then that one, there are some standards you've set. There are some standards you've set, and then when you realize people have realized, and then you know, when you realize people have realized, you now become ashamed. And you know, instead of handling shame in a good way, you think the best way to cover this shame is to drink more. You take more beer so that you can be able to suppress your situation. But instead of suppressing it, you even get yourself into more mess. I remember what got me sacked at Lenana school was I used to enter into fights with they have a police station inside there. So every time I would come drunk, instead of going to where I'm supposed to sleep, I go there, I cause problems with those security policemen around. Sometimes you abuse them. I think they kept on arresting me, and I want to thank the principal of the school by then. I think so he's still the principal then. And all drunkards, people will always support you. They never just laid me off. I remember they will come, bail me out, send people they think they are close friends. Then you know sometimes with the drinking, it is very funny. You will realize you are drinking 3 or 4, 5, but only one is behaving contrary to the rest. So they will try to send those friends we drink with. Talk to this man, talk to him. But you know, the problem is sometimes, unless you know the approach, you realize when those people are coming to talk to you, that talk, instead of healing you, it is even hurting you the more. When you realize, this is what people are thinking of me, they will tell you, just imagine. And this, the problem, some people will tend to exaggerate. They will tell you, do you know what you were doing yesterday? So such like talk, sometimes these talks, that's why I recommend, if you are talking to an addict, ensure that you have the right information. Sometimes you might talk thinking that you are helping, kumbe you are
pushing them even more, like pushing them further into
the addiction.
The
because addiction thrives more on shame and guilt.
Okay. I know majority of the times for family members, it's easy to say, now you watch pombe, kwani you're not the first one to start. I mean, you said your dad also struggles or struggled with alcohol. So some will be like, lakini siuache, ama unataka kukua kama nani, unataka kukua kama baba yako, you know, and all those things. So these words, again, like he's saying, tend to hurt even more. But for you guys, so once you realized that this is his situation, what was that feeling like?
It was a sad moment for that time, because he totally changed for being the person who was there before. First thing, the way he was looking, you see, he changed all his clothes. He was looking like, you see, like chokora. That's why he was looking like this. So ameoga. Alikuwa anakaa chokora actually. By the way, ungemwona that time, ungefikiria like huyu, hata zingine tulikuwa tunasema huyu amerogwa that time. Because unakaa unamwangalia, this is a teacher, professional, na sahi amechange, aendi shule, aogi, akuli. The only thing he was doing is only drinking, na kutusi watu, na kunyang'anya watu, na kuiba, na kuibia watu kwa maduka. That's the only thing he was doing.
What about like the community around you guys? Yeah, what were they saying? What do they sort of like blame you guys? Like nyinyi mtoto wenyu, unaona vile mtoto wenyu anasumbua watu?
Okay, community lazima wangeongea kwa sababu the things that he was doing was not right. The first thing, when he was drunk, first ungemwongelesha vibaya, angekupiga. Yeah, angekupiga. Second, angekuaccuse, angekwambia umeniongelesha vibaya, nitarudi kwako kukuibia. That is, unaelewa. So ilikuwa like, hata kwa mamake ilikuwa like pain. He was crying, she was crying. Asubuhi akiamka akimwona tu is like, akona hiyo that pain. Mtoto nimemsomesha, nimemkuza, nilikuwa nafikiria atanisaidia akigrow up. So amefika a certain level, amechange. So his mother used to cry a lot. Second thing, even alikuwa na family actually. Unaona? Alikuwa na family. Alikuwa na bibi na watoto at the same time. So unapata hiyo kukunywa pombe, hiyo bangi, hizo vituko mob ilifanya mpaka wife akaenda. So yeye na familia yake waka separate because of what? Being drunk and those drugs.
And Joseph, I mean, listening to her, because so fine, so job ikaishatlendana, you had to move and stay. You said with your?
I had moved to stay with my brother.
With your brother. So hapo ndio maisha ika vitu zikaenda kabisa. Do you want to take us through that moment? Because now you're deep into the addiction. You need the alcohol to sort of like function. But now at this point you're not functioning because job ilisha, everything else, you know, your wife and kids, like your family separated and all those things. What then drove the crime aspect of the same? How did you get yourself into that?
What happened, just as like I had told you, because of the shame, you know, a drunkard, even before a point of addiction, person will try to struggle. And then, because even you will not even wish to drink, But when that urge, when your emotions and feelings, when your urge to drink overrides your logic, because logically, if you were to use your logics, you will not drink. So when you will drink, you will feel disappointed with your own self. When you feel disappointed now, the only thing you now lose hope, then you just decide it is drinking full time. So when I was laid off, when I caused my own being laid off from where I was, I was not working. I had now gotten used to that habit. I will not stop drinking. So where I was, I could not even pay rent. So what happened is I had to relocate, and I had to go and stay with my brother, who was staying in the slums of Mathare, an area known as Mradi. For him, he was doing some construction work. So at least for him then, he was better than my situation. Him also used to drink, but according to him, mine was on another level. I was worse than him, because for me, to try and run away, escape the reality, I was overdoing it, because I was not ready to be responsible. Being asked questions, how are you behaving? Those questions, I was ready to handle them when I'm drunk, because if you bring them over to me when I'm drunk, I had the wall. Yeah, and they knew very well. Yeah, that's why you heard her say I was violent. That is part of the ways to trying to avoid accountability. Because if people knew when he's drunk, don't speak to him. You will end up creating more problem. So I stayed with my brother in the slums of Mathare, Mradi. So there I was drinking and not working. I tried to get a few jobs after there. I remember I taught a school known as St. Patrick's Maringo. We tried a bit, but it was a bit difficult, because I would only go to school when I get money. That is the end of me. So I stayed there. Now I devised a method. I would go into Changa dens, a very dangerous place known as Bonde, along the strips of Mathare towards Mlango Kubwa. So I would wake up very early. In fact, you'd think I'm going to work, because I realized very early in the morning we had guys who used to frequent those dens. They take alcohol before they rush to Marikiti. So I will borrow some alcohol from them. You come by, before you finish, you leave for me a bit. Then I'm just there idle doing nothing. We come back, they buy for me. So I used to borrow a lot. So when I was there, I think people realized, criminal elements realized, this guy is vulnerable. So I think one day I was just seated, a friend of mine, I want to a friend of mine in quotes, we shared an ethnicity. He approached me and told me there is a deal. Are you ready? I was very ready, because I was dead broke. Accessing 10 bob or even 5 bob was an uphill task, because nobody trusts you. You can't get anything. So when I asked him which kind of job, told me it's a very simple job. Sisi tunaenda kazi mahali. Your work is very simple. Your work is just to confirm. Unatuangalia kama rada ni safi. Being a wise man I was, kaona that is a very easy job. Because kama rada itakuwa chafu, mimi nitakimbia na waacha. So I readily accepted the offer ya kuangalia kama rada ni chafu ama ni safi. So we went. I might not be able to say where, but we went, and narada ikakuwa safi. So the mission was successful according to them. So when the mission was successful, I was given my share, but it was slightly lower than those people that were involved in the actual activity. So now, because I had already gotten into any habit is just addictive. So now I became part of them. Anytime they will go, they would be involved with me. They said, just your rada ni hiyo kuangalia rada. Later on, because they were getting more share than me, I wanted more, and I was gaining courage, because since I was born, I had never tried stealing, apart from the normal one of sugar. So my courage kept on growing. So until I was into it. And I became a wanted criminal in Mathare. And Even my cousin knows, she stays in Kasarani. I even sometimes I go to Kasarani, there are some kind policemen who once arrested me severally when they had gotten me I had stealing the furniture around the stadium. So when the word reached what I was doing in Nairobi, my mother came for me. And you know, there is some attachment mothers have, hata ukue nani. So when she came with all the cry, I agreed to follow her. Because I was threatened by one of these hitmen, police hitmen. When there was, I remember that one day a police hitman came where I was seated and asked, wait, I hear there's a person known as Mwalimu. Where Mwalimu ako wapi? And me, I reasoned very fast. Ananiulizia na niko hapo. Nikamwambia, oh huyo jamaa ametoka tu hivi, wewe napenda kununuliwa pombe, ameenda hivi. So when we went, I followed him venye alienda hivi, I took the other. So in short, the level where my life had reached, I was waiting for death was inevitable. So when they came, and I also thought, if I continue staying here, I will die. So I followed my mom home.
And you went home. So hold on to that. We'll come back and continue with that after the break. But I just want to hear from you before we go on a break, and then we'll have a psychologist as well join us. So listening to him, all the fears, and sometimes the risks and all those things. So you as a family, in terms of support, you know, that you offered him, what was that like for you? Like, was it difficult to offer the support? Because like you said, tumejaribu kumwongelesha haski. So did you guys get to a point where given up and whatever happens, let it happen very quickly before we go on a break?
Okay. In that part, we gave him love. Okay. Love. We knew that tumejaribu kumwambia wacha this, amekataa. Wacha pombe, amekataa. Wacha bangi, amekataa. So we knew the thing we'll do to this man is only love. So naona hiyo upendo ukimpatia, naona like, even though I'm doing these things, but they really love me. So tukamua tu, we just love this guy. Awe ni mchafu, awe anakaaje, awe ni mlevi, ni wetu.
So what did that look like? Your love, ilikuwa inakaaje? Was it in form of like money, come stay with us, ama shika pesa kidogo, enda hata ununue sabuni ya kuoga?
Okay.
What did that look like?
Your love, utamnyima, ukiwa na do utamnyima. Okay, for me, I used to give. Okay. Cause atakuja tu, ai kuzo, niko mbaya, 10 bob tu, ama za zingine anakuambia mbao tu. So unaona like, afadhali umpatie hiyo mbao ama 10 bob, kuliko aende kwa nje aibe. Juu kuna sometime alienda, alikuwa ameitwa job mahali. So, wenye alifika huko, unajua alikuwa drunk. Kufika huko, ni kama huyo mtu wako mlipa, na alikuwa anamuuzia those jewels. What he did, alibeba hizo jewels zote, akaniletea.
Okay.
Akaniletea, nikamuliza kuzo umetoa wapi? Akaniambia ule mtu amekataa kunilipa, so mimi nikatumia idea, so let me pay myself with these jewels.
Yeah. Akamwambia yote akakuletea, wewe shika hii.
Sasa mimi nikaona like, ukikosa kumpea, atenda afanye something weird. Yeah. So we used to, akisema nipe, unampea. Lakini usiatu unampea mingi, no. Yeah. Unampea ile unaona like hii, akienda atarudi. Si ile unampea atenda. Unajua kuna ule mlevi mwenye anakunywa na akili. Na kuna ule mwenye analewa chakari. So unajua mlevi mchakari? Huyo alikuwa mlevi mchakari. Akikunywa, first thing, mali hiyo ulevi itamfikishia hapo ndo atalala. Kama ni mvua itanyesha, itampata hapo.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You know what, Esther? Thank you so much, because now various aspects of what you're bringing up into this conversation in terms of, yes, support for this person, what love looks like, but also boundaries. Because I want to imagine at some point at a come on, you know, it's either you do this or the other. So let's take a break on that note. But then when we come back, we'd want to understand the whole aspect about now beyond the bottle, right? How, you know, he was able to change his life to be who he is right now. Because like you said, ukimwangalia sahi, one word is thank God.
Ukimweka sahi na that
before,
time.
Yeah.
Ay, sahi anakata bishop.
You know what? Let's take a break on that note. We'll be right back with more right here on Your World. And remember, the conversation is all about Beyond the Bottle. See you soon.
Explore our market-driven programs from PhD, Masters, Bachelor's, Diplomas to Certificate programs. Join our September intake and dive into a world of vibrant student life, ultra-modern facilities, and a globally renowned faculty committed to your success. Zetech University. Invent your future.
Want to know the biggest story of the week? Do not worry. The Weekly Review got you covered. For in-depth analysis of politics, business, governance, as well as social issues, the Weekly Review covers it all. For well-researched, exclusive and investigative content, read the Weekly Review every Sunday in the Sunday Nation.
I'm sorry, sweetheart. But life can be cruel. For all of us, right?
You will be the one who has to take the first step.
I'm filing bigamy charges against my husband, Alvaro Villalobos.
This has gotten out of hand, Alvaro. I know. So what are you going to do? If anyone reports you, you will end up in prison.
Yes, of course I know that. I have to think of something.
You are the one.
And people come in and they're like, oh, it works. I can have ice cream and I'm not in any discomfort. I recommend Sensodyne because it works. It's brilliant.
Taarifa Teke Teke na e-paper. Stay in the know on the go. Getting the full story Bilangori. To sign up, choose your preferred subscription. Use the promo code SUBZ22 to get 20% off and pay. Get your favorite newspaper and enjoy the truth anywhere, anytime. For inquiries, email epaper@ke.nationmedia.com or call 0790 111 111. Subscribe today and get your Taarifa Teke Teke.
All right, welcome back. The show is Your World, and today is a story of hope. It's a story of support, okay? And it's all about Beyond the Bottle. And we're looking at addiction, the impact of the same, and how family members, all right, and even professionals can offer support to a person who's struggling with addiction to find purpose and meaning in their lives. And today we have Otiembo Joseph, who is a recovering addict or someone who struggled with addiction, okay? Because I was told we don't say addicts, psychologists here on set, as well as a reformed criminal. And we have Japheth Murimi Githinji, who joins us now. He's a counseling psychologist from Tingoni Treatment and Rehab Center. Thank you so much for your time as well. So much has been said. Our time is very short, but we just want to understand addiction and what addiction looks like before we talk to Joseph to understand more on, so then how was he able to, because like he said, came to like almost near death experience, right? Yes. But addiction, what exactly does addiction look like?
Addiction is a very complex condition. It is a brain disease characterized by doing something for short-term relief. But the same thing has long-term consequences. And even when you experience the long-term consequences, you are unable to stop. Yes, so it's progressive in nature, chronic, and relapsing in nature.
Okay. So do people who struggle with addiction know that they are addicted?
Some.
Some know.
Some know.
Okay. And for the others who don't know?
For the others who don't know, one main characteristic of addiction, which stems from, human nature, is denial. You go through something, but something is telling you, I don't have a problem. And it looks different for different people. Some will compare themselves with others. Some will justify their drinking. Some will, give reasons, explain. Some will overcompensate with other areas of their life just to try and not have that conversation, not even with another person, but even within themselves. And it's absolutely normal to be in denial.
And Joseph also mentioned a lot of things. So there was shame, there was trying to suppress, emotions, because like I said, a lot of things, family, disintegrated, lost his job, trying to find means and ways to sort of like sustain this urge that is not going away. And the only thing that would sort of like give him quote unquote relief was to drink even more. Is this something so common among people who struggle with?
Yeah, with addiction and alcoholism, there are three aspects. There are three sides. I don't know whether I'm supposed to use this. A three-headed beast. Yeah, there's chemical dependency, whereby, for example, alcohol, the active substance is ethanol. So your brain gets used to ethanol. So to tweak some chemicals so that you feel the way you feel. So your brain may get dependent, that it may not be able to regulate those chemicals without ethanol. There's physical dependence. This is whereby the body develops a dependence in such a manner that if you are not drunk or you're not drinking, you experience withdrawal symptoms. So you find that some people want to stop drinking, but because when they have not drunk, they are so uncomfortable. Some people feel pain, anxiety, heart rate, all of those things. So physical dependency. And the other part is psychological dependency. This is where now the emotions come in. You're drinking because you're sad. You're drinking because of pain. You're drinking because of... most people start via peer pressure. You start small. But as you continue, because of the chemicals involved, the feeling produced, the emotion produced, kind of counters the pain you've been feeling the whole of your life. So your mind will form that connection, that for problems, the solution is the drug or drinking, so psychological dependence. So it could be past or present. For example, shame and guilt from the present, from current use.
Okay, yeah. I see that. So for you, it was a lot of things, again, like you said, that at some point, so there's something to finance, right, the habit. So you got yourself into crime, then got into like a near-death experience. There was actually a threat. So you followed your mom, Shago. Maybe something would happen. And you said at home you continued with the habit, and that is crime, but still with addiction as well. Got into mob justice, right? You'll tell us about that. But even before that, there's something that you said you heard your mom say that sort of helped you into, into the turnaround period. But before that, can we just first of all get to understand what happened, the whole mob justice thing?
So, when I went home, and alcohol addiction can affect anybody. For me, in my small village where I come from, sadly, I was the first person to go to university. So when I went back with the habit, the community, first of all, tried tolerating me, because they would blame it on witchcraft, such like things. So I would do some petty crimes and I will get away with. Exactly. And that's a very, and such things also they fuel. Because for me, I want to say such talks, conversations, they used to give me confidence because I used to drink and behave the way I was behaving because I knew people know that yeah, it's not my fault. After all, I have somewhere to blame, me nimerogwa. So I kept on stealing people's chicken, maize. Sometimes you threaten people, you get a person, threaten, give me what you have. So the habit continued. My company, villagers now started, where we come from, some of them even will pray. You'll hear some of them literally tell you, when the uibe, hii wizi sikutoe kwa hii village kupeleke kwingine at least ukufie huko. So meaning that they were now ready to lynch you. There is a day, in fact, that day I had not involved myself in stealing, but I had that habit. I had, it's very painful. I remember before that, I had gotten myself into crime. Nenda nikabomoa fence ya mtu, nikapasua kuni nikaenda nikauza. So I had run away. I ran away to go and, when I ran away, nikaenda kuchungia mtu ng'ombe. Sasa ng'ombe sikuiba, nilikuwa nimeenda kuchunga ng'ombe, nikajua hapo nimejificha na pia napata kakazi kidogo. So venye nilikuwa nachunga ng'ombe, I had been paid. Kulipa na kuna kitu nakusemanga tu at least uende penye unakunywanga kwa watu wako. So I came for that day, nikakunywa na marafiki. I was to go, nimejua natafutwa, sikuenda. So and the reason is nilikunywa nikashindwa. So when I got my senses, because I had money, venye nijipata, my senses ilikuwa around saa 9. Nikaenda kuamsha one of my accomplices. Kumwamsha kwenda at least nimchangamsha kidogo. Nilikuwa nataka nimchangamshe nikirudi kazi ya kuchunga ng'ombe. You can imagine a graduate teacher biology chemistry. Yeah. Nachungia mtu ng'ombe na hiyo ndio kazi naenda because of alcohol. So kwa hiyo harakati venye tulienda, kumbe jamaa naye pia that night walikuwa nikimpata hivi ndio alikuwa anaingia tu kutoka kazi. Kazi ya wizi. Lakini hakuniambia. So for him mwenye alikuwa na yeye I knew him. So when we went nikanunua pombe around saa 11 akaniambia tupitie tuangalie rafiki yake. Kumbe the mob ilikuwa around that place because venye walijua, no people will always suspect. Wakajua kama suspect na wakaenda wakapata yuko kwa nyumba. So wakakaa pale wanangojea anatokea wapi. My friend was aware there could be something. So venye nilifika he ran na mimi nikabaki. So now the mob descended on me. And it is a horrifying experience to experience mob justice. You speak, some don't want you to speak. You keep quiet, some don't want you to keep quiet. You speak in low tone, some they want you to speak in high tone. You speak in high tone, you are disrespecting them. According to me, I had seen death. I thank God for my area assistant chief then. Because there are some people who saw, and because they knew my parents, suggested, let's take him to the authority. Some were saying, no, wewe ataachiliwa tu, acha uawe. But a few wakaona kuna hiyo huruma akasema tuende kwa the assistant chief. So there is where I was saved. I was taken to the police station, and I thank my life for God. Yeah. Somehow hivi venye nilifika pale, I filmed the death. Policemen saw. When I just reached the police station, I knew very well police station don't want a person who is badly injured. Because I was injured, when nilifika tu pale, I fell down. Nikajifanya sasa now immobile. Yeah. Yeah. So police wakasema huyu mtu mnatuletea mtu mwenye amekufa, peleka yeye hospitali. So when they took me, even those people that had taken me there, now policemen were now on their case, trying to find out why did you do this? Yeah. Because by then I didn't have any evidence. Yeah. So now when they took me out, they left me. But for me, I thank God. In fact, Mimi, my life is a miracle. Yeah. My life is actually a miracle by the grace of God. Yeah. Because everything that happened to me, it is just, and I have always believed it is God that was doing something in my life.
Give you like a turnaround. So would you say that was your turnaround? You after your mob justice, and then again you said something about what your mom. After
mob justice, yeah. I didn't really stop. You know, according to my stupidity, now I had that revenge. So I now wanted to revenge anybody that I saw I not threatened to start revenging. And now the community became very wild. Reports, my mom, this one we will kill, the way anakosa, nataki kusikiza. So there's one day I listened to my mom pray. And that prayer really touched me. Because, you know, one, by the way, I don't come from a rich family. It was just a struggle. I've told you I was the first person to go to campus. And actually, we are a family of 5. I'm the only person who has gone beyond Form 4. So you can imagine the hope those people had in me. So one day I had my mom pray, Kasema, God, you gave me this son. He started growing up very well. When he went to campus, I knew my prayers were answered. But God, instead of him being a source of happiness, he has been a source of my sadness. And as I speak to you now, my mother developed high blood pressure from my condition. So we just pray God, we are praying God for grace to manage. But that's a condition she developed from my condition. So she prayed and requested God to take away, to take me away respectively. Because now she was imagining a teacher, a person who has gone to university, dying because of lynching. So she was petitioning God to take me in a honorable way, if that is his wish, instead of me being there. So such things are what started, I think they hit me so painfully. Because speaking people used to speak, she used to speak severally. Sometimes we were brought to, some very funny pastors, come and pray for this one, even some medicine men. They really try, but nothing works. You are brought a person who drinks like you, a person who used to drink and stopped, but they never used to work. I think that one is a combination of very many factors. I can say hitting the rock bottom. But above all, I always subject to the high power. I think it was God. Because for me, my condition, I normally tell people, for me, if we were to use the standards of men, I will either be dead or serving a jail term. Okay. But you can see by the grace of God, here I am.
Your cousin almost called you a bishop. I mean, Japheth, it's a lot to go through and think about, because majority of the times when we talk about struggles with addiction, alcoholism and drug abuse, we think about the person. We don't look at this other facet, and that is the family members. So, and we need to end the show. So would you speak in terms of like family members, what support looks like, how they are, first of all, how they are impacted and how they can offer support not only to the person who struggles with addiction, but also themselves, because they need that. As they say, when one family, one person, member of the family struggles, the entire family really struggles.
Yeah, and I commend him for the courage to share his story. It's very touching. And to put it very simply, because then again, for the person who's drinking or doing drugs, it's basically affecting their moods, their emotions, their behavior, and their way of thinking. As human beings, we experience other human beings through their actions and through their emotions too. That's how we form ideas, that's how we form our own behaviors, and that's how we feel, that's how we end up feeling the way we feel. So, for example, him in active addiction, he'll go drink, he will do crime, he will do those things, but then he will take that to the family, and that will directly affect the families, their thinking patterns, their emotions, and their behavior too.
I mean, to the point of wishing he was dead.
Yes.
You can imagine that.
And the thing is, it happens over and over
again.
So it forms a pattern. It kind of stamps that this is what life is, and they don't have the answers. So most of the times they form irrational forms of thinking. The emotions are heavy and unprocessed. So in the end, the coping mechanism that is formed from that is their lives start centering around the person who's struggling. So they become addicted to their addiction. Then they are not using drugs, they are still going to church, but they have become addicted to. That is a condition, not a condition. It's a phenomenon we call codependency. And one way to overcome codependency now is to start realizing you also have your life. Not to stop loving the person, but redefining the love, what this love looks like. Start taking care of yourself too. Start identifying the things you are letting go because of this person and start doing them, making new goals. Healthy communication is very important at that point. Holding the person accountable. Honest feedback is very important. The feedback that sounds like, I get maybe you're drinking because of pain. I get that we cannot help you, but this behavior is affecting me, and we may need to do this and that for us as we wait for you to, forming those kind of boundaries.
I see that. Instead of pointing fingers, have that. But again, like he said, he would hear and he would feel those emotions of the family members. But it's just for a while. Like ishaenda kukunywa amesahau kila kitu and comes back.
Yes. So it's one thing giving somebody a help and offering somebody help. So what most people do is they give help. And if you don't take that help, they get hurt. But if you are able to offer help, because if you give, you expect the person has to use it and get help. But it's offering help with the knowledge that you may offer, it may be declined, and it may not be helpful. And being in a position to, the language you use around the person too. Yeah.
Okay, I see that. And I think on a different conversation, we'll talk about help and talk about rehabilitation and what that process is, because it's a very long conversation in itself. So I think we'll take that as your parting shot, because that's very important. And for you, you were able to turn your life around, and now you run a program called Beyond the Bottle, which is our conversation today. So what is it that you would tell people in terms of having gone through this life, and now you're here, you've turned your life around, and you're doing positive things. You're doing things to impact the society, to share, again, through you sharing your story, you're impacting the people. What is it that you'd want the people to understand about addiction in itself and the life after? Very quickly as we can.
One thing I want those people who are struggling with addiction, one, they should understand that addiction is a disease. Whatever they are doing because of conditions beyond their control. But being a disease, just like other diseases, it has help. If you reach to people, like for myself, we're in Beyond the Bottle, we offer psychosocial support. We've walked through the journey, and we do it pro bono. Because for me, I've taken it as a gift from God. We offer this help pro bono when you come to us. But just like the same way he has said, but you need to, this help is not for everybody. Help is not for those who need it. It's for those who want it. So sometimes I realize, when I used to make those decisions, I want to stop. It should not end there. You should actionize it. You want to stop. How do you stop it? You can be able to, help is available. If you reach us at Beyond the Bottle, we will be able to give that support to you. And we do it pro bono because of what we've gone through.
Looking back, what is like your biggest regret? In just one word.
My biggest regret is time wasted in addiction.
Time wasted in addiction. Okay. All right. But I mean, here you are today, really. So we would say everything has its own time. And you're here today, your life completely changed, and you're impacting as many people out there. So thank you. All the very best in this journey, because it's a very long journey that you have to take every single day, right? So all the very best in the same, and in everything that you're doing, really, to impact the society. Thank you, son, Joseph, really. And thank you so much, Japheth, as well. I mean, really, really amazing insights that we got today as far as what support looks like, and taking action, and not forgetting yourself as a family member as well. We'll come back and talk about the whole process about treatment and rehabilitation and what that looks like, but on a totally different conversation. But for now, take a look at the segment, and then we'll be right back.
We're gonna do something right now. Are you ready now? Let's go. Okay, stay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. 6, 7, 8. 7, 8. 8. I said I. 8. 7, 8. 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I mean, what a conversation we had today on Your World as far as second chances and beyond the bottle. And I'm pretty sure you may know a family member, you may know a friend, or yourself maybe is struggling with addiction and you don't know what exactly to do or where to go. I'm pretty sure you have found inspiration from this conversation this morning right here on Your World. And remember, this is where you find such conversations, bolder but in-depth conversations that impact our lives in one way or the other. And for more of this, visit our social media pages, and that is at NTV Kenya, both on Facebook and on X, as well as on YouTube, and most importantly, on our website, and that is at NTV Kenya. My name is Winnie Lubembe. See you tomorrow on another episode of Your World. But until then, stay safe. I mean, listen, all this conversation today, right here on the show, I mean, only talks about hope and finding second, okay, you know, take two. Bishop.